Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another presentation of our broadcast here in the Issues Room. Today is our 233rd edition, and we'd like to welcome all of you, our viewers, wherever you are tonight, to join us here. We come your way Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this evening, we're here again to discuss Liberia, particularly the things that matter. We ask you to share our link, invite others, like us, follow us, and love us on Facebook. We can be caught also on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and our Issues Room page. We say thank you for joining us. If you're going to be here with us tonight, we also ask, if possible, let us know you're here so that we can recognize you, or better still, weigh in the chat room. Our conversation is geared toward enlightenment, and so we want you to be a part of our conversation because it's about Liberia. We say thank you to all of you who have been with us over the years as our committed viewers for your viewership. We encourage you to continue to spread the word so that the number can increase. We're looking forward to a great conversation tonight. I'm expected to be joined by Moses and Alphonso at some point during the broadcast. You and I know that all of us are working adults, and sometimes we get caught up at work. And this has been I believe, modus operandi in the last several months for Moses and Alphonso. And so sometimes they have things to do, and that may kind of impede them from being here on time. But nevertheless, we can hold the fort, you and I, and that is why I'm encouraging you to participate, weigh in, and let's talk. Thank you, Manin Sumo. It's a pleasure having you here tonight. And hopefully you can also share the link for the others out there to join us. This evening, we're going to be discussing the ministerial retreat, and I call it Cabinet Ministerial Retreat, that the president and his cabinet are holding at the ministerial complex. I believe day 2, and I'm not sure if they concluded today, but I believe that it was a 2 or 3 day retreat, and we'll just do a quick summary snapshot of it. We're also going to be discussing the issue with Kef Hassan. If you recalled during the campaign in the 2023 elections, presidential elections, Kef took to social media and spoke about Mr. Stanton Witherspoon, the then CEO of the Spoon Network, and one of his panelists, Dr. Francine Chenoweth Richardson, who he claimed were in a compromise situation, and he projected that they had a relationship, and Spoon confided in him and told him that. But the story is now being changed. Kef is now begging for mercy. Apparently, it's in the court of law, and he's trying to step back. But Moses has more detail on it, and it's just one of the conversations we're going to talk about here tonight. And also the current and now Director General of LBS told the president, Boycott, that he wants the Liberia broadcasting system to be exclusively for government. And the word exclusively will mean that probably the oppositions will have no voice. Those who with dissenting views might have no voice. But the president said no. And we have a news story on that from Smart News. So again, we say thank you for being there. We'll have a lot of good stuff here tonight. We're here for an hour and a half, and so we encourage you to join us. Also, I'd like to say welcome, Alphonso. But before you say a word, I just want to remind us here that we're bereaved. Tomorrow we'll be laying to rest the wife of one of our colleagues of the Association of Liberian Journalists here in the Americas, Alja, and he is the current president of the Delaware Valley chapter that you and I belong to. His wife, Mrs. Comfort Jeffrey Abu, passed a few weeks ago and we'll be laying her to rest. But welcome. I just wanted to put that out.
No, thank you, brother. That's very important. Yeah, tomorrow. Well, the last few weeks have been a sad period, but tomorrow especially will be because as you correctly said, we'll be laying Mr. Zabu's remains to rest tomorrow. I intend to be there, and I just want to say to everybody, even if you're not able to be there, just keep the Abu family in your prayers.
Yeah, and do you know the details of the service and time and all of that? Uh,
So viewing starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Let me actually go over the itinerary here. The viewing starts at 9 a.m. It will be at the give me 1 second here. It will be at the Divine Mercy Catholic Church. Address is 6667 Chester Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. And as I said, funeral service Saturday, May 25th. Wake keeping is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then the mass, the celebration mass, which is actually a funeral celebration, will start at 11. And interment follows at the Saints Peter and Paul Cemetery. That's 1600 Sproul Road, Springfield, PA. But the service, the funeral is actually at 6667 Chester Avenue at the Divine Mercy Catholic Parish of Chester. Yeah.
and I think the most important takeaway here is to be there at 9, and then
Yes.
all other activities will follow.
Everything else follows.
Yeah. So again, those of you who are following us here tonight and are in the Philadelphia area or intending to come from other states, and you decided to leave early morning, we try to be here by 9, and we'll reiterate that during the program and at the end of the program just to remind folks. But again, it's a very solemn moment, and let's talk a little bit about comfort because honestly, we were just in Comfort's house in February, where we held our chapter's meeting just before I went to Liberia. And she was there, bubbly, cooked for us. In fact, I took my little tobagi home, because anytime I go, she always say, I know you're looking for your tobagi, And I say, yes. She said, okay, I got your left base here for you. And I took my tobagi home, only for me to be in Liberia. And the way Abu put the stuff on Facebook, I was confused.
Yep.
The question he said was, I didn't know this would be our last picture together.
Yeah.
Like, what the guy is talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was confused. So, you wake up from sleep and you go to the bathroom and then you check Facebook quick, then you say, all right, maybe the manager on something. Let me go back to bed because I don't want to ruin my sleep. So I went back to bed. And then later on in the day, I chatted up with Moses, and Moses said, my man, I got a big story here to go.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a disaster. So in fact, that night, Abu and myself and the group of us were together.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place we occasionally meet in Philadelphia. So we all were there until like 10 or 10:30, 11 that night. 10:30, we left that night. He went home. I came home. And then 2 a.m., 2:30, he called. But for some reason, I mean, I will always pick up my phone. For some reason that night, I didn't pick up my phone. And just like you, I got up early, as I always do, 5:30, 5:30 in the morning. First thing I do, I pick up the phone, see if I missed calls, and then go to Facebook. And I saw that I missed his call. And I was, why he called me at 2:30? We're just together. And then another friend called, and then I said, "Oh, yep, the tragedy happened last night," and it was devastating. I called him, the answer, I went right there. So he himself didn't expect it. I mean, he bought fish for the woman that night where we were sitting. He said, "Okay," he bought a fish for himself, and then bought one. Said, "Fix my fish. Let me carry it to my wife." So he took fish with him that night for his wife, and she came from work, and then boom, the tragedy happened. So it's as you said, it's a really tragic and solemn occasion. I know him and his family are all stressed, and it's important that we provide the support on them. You know.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. We'll be there in numbers tomorrow. But when you look at life, Alfonso, and that is why I have gotten to the point where in my own everyday living, to be more forgiving, to be more uh, understanding, to be calm, you know, to just live life in a way that I, I, I don't want to be all stressed up and then things just happen. And so I always ask God for His grace, that grace. It's obvious that all of us will leave, but the fact that we don't know how and when is just a matter of asking God for His grace.
Yes. And the song, I mean, you are the you're singer, so you know the song. No one knows the hour. Watch and pray. No one knows the hour. That's exactly what it is. No one knows the hour. We should try our best as much as we can do just to be in the good graces of God every day. Help our fellow men as we are asked to do by Jesus Christ, because it's not even by our actions that we will be saved, it's by the mercy of God. And if we forgive our fellow man, if we do what God asks us to do to our fellow man, I'm sure His mercy will be for all of us. Because, yeah, you're right. No one knows the minute, the second, the hour, the day, the year. We just have to all work on being prepared.
And you find people here amassing everything, thinking that they're here forever, having skyscrapers as their permanent resident, as though they can live in every room in the house, palaces and mansion, trampling on other people just to keep themselves up there in high esteem, to be perceived in high esteem, uh, taking everything that belongs to everybody for themselves instead of giving back. I wonder, and I'm asking myself here all the time, what do we take from this world? Alfonso, what do we take from this world?
Nothing, my brother.
And
What do you think?
who reminds me of how money is no good when it can do nothing for you is Steve Jobs.
Yes.
Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple,
Yep.
billionaire, said, "All this money I have cannot save me."
Yep. Yep.
Died so young from pancreatic cancer. You know, and we just gotta just give God the glory, man.
Absolutely. We take to answer your question directly. We take nothing from this world. There's nobody. Even when God forbid, when somebody dies, do you see they go in their closet and take their suit from there or their shoes and put them on them? No. You want to buy something else? No difference when put it. So you absolutely take nothing. Do you see people go to their bank accounts and take money from there and stuff the coffin with it? No. They don't do that. We don't put Lamborghinis or Mercedes Benzes in anybody's casket or anybody's graves or in anybody's tomb. Nobody takes anything. If you somebody who does, who believes in it, they even actually take your intestines out of you, your organs out of you. So you really go with absolutely nothing. From to dust we return. That's just what it is.
Naked you come,
Naked you go.
naked you go.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Manisumo Hashim Fambula, good to see you. William McDavis, it's a pleasure having you. And Gwen Jones Smith, thank you again for joining. Yes, you are right. Too many good people are under the ground, and comfort death is a shock. It is indeed a shock. But thank you so much for joining us here tonight. As I said, we'll be laying her to rest tomorrow, and Aja will be in his full attendance, especially our chapter here. So again, will be another time for us to come together and celebrate a beautiful woman, a beautiful soul, and may her soul rest in peace. We stand with the Abus and we pray for solace, we pray for strength, and we pray for recovery.
Before we go, let me you talk about your Tabagi story. Let me talk about my dry rest story, because she had dry rest that night too, and that's one of my favorite. And I like you, I also took some dry rest home as well, and it was sumptuous. It was sumptuous, and it's shocking. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was what you wanted to say. But you know, um I don't know why Moses is not here yet, but we'll start this conversation.
I
Um,
would, I would text him.
yeah,
But we can continue. I'll text him and then we can see. Maybe he's having challenges again with his connections. But let me talk to him.
yeah. But while you do that, I just wanted to quickly go to the story I'm talking about here from a newspaper in Monrovia called Smart News Liberia, and they wrote here LBS to remain inclusive. President Bouaga dismisses Fagon's plan. Um, so as I was saying, uh, the story says here that Eugene Fagon had made a proposition to President Bouakai that he wanted LBS to be exclusively for the government, uh, exclusively for government-related issues, and apparently, which that means to be excluding opposition figures and their expressions. So President Bouaga promptly rejected the suggestion, affirming that LBS will remain a platform for all Liberians. Um, the rejection of Fagon's plan was met with relief by some political commentators who expressed concern over his intentions. They told Smart News Liberia that they viewed Fagon's proposal as an attempt to sanction critical opposition voices, especially those critical of the Bouakai administration. Um, what is your thought on this?
I'm interested. First of all, I want to begin here. I'm interested in really seeing Mr. Fagon's proposal and the reasoning behind that proposal. Uh, because it kind of I don't even understand it. Like I don't know where he's coming from. So I just want to give him the benefit of that. Because first of all, as the managing director or director general of the Liberia Broadcasting System, Mr. Fagon, in my view, should have read, or I believe read the act creating the Liberia Broadcasting System (LBS). And then the purpose of the Liberia Broadcasting System is twofold: is to provide the people of Liberia uh, a public platform that they do not have to pay for to get their views on Liberians from all walks of life and persuasions and every organization to get to communicate. Democracy is built on the foundation of the participation of the citizens. And how else can the citizens participate but through the mediums of mass media, such as radio, television, and then, of course, the
Well,
media?
I'm losing you, Alfonso. I'm losing you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Now go ahead.
All right, so let me raise my volume. So
Yeah.
how else would the people participate in their democracy, in the public space and in public discourse, without the medium of communication? And it was on that basis that the Liberia Broadcasting System was created as a public entity to give the citizens the voice to be able to dialogue and to participate in public discourse, to ask their government officials and their leaders questions, and for the leaders to also communicate with the people in terms of what they're doing. That's the purpose of LBS. For anybody to now come up and say, let's make it exclusively a government official's propaganda tool. First of all, who is the government? What is the government? Government and government officials are instituted to serve the people, to listen to the people, to do what the people want them to do. So I hate when people try to separate the government from the citizens that constitute the government, that pay government officials. You're
And
not,
I voted
and
government
I
into
voted
power.
for you. I voted and constituted you. So you're not separate from them. You shouldn't be engaging in propaganda to convince the people. You should be doing the people's work. And in doing the people's work, you should be transparent. In doing the people's work, the people should have an opportunity to ask you. How else there are few ways that the people participate in democracy, even though we say government for the people, by the people, with the people. One, through elections. But elections are just held periodically. So we elect somebody that the person is there for 6 years. How else can the citizens engage with the people they elect within that 6 year period? It's through petitioning, it's through speaking out, it's through being covered by the media, and that's why the media was established. And even under the PRC, which was a military government, the LBS still served as a public entity. Now we're in a democratic space, and a director general in a democratic space is asking that the citizens should be locked out of an institution that they fund, that their taxes pay for, that their resources pay for, is beyond every understanding.
And
And
good point,
it,
good point. As I was driving home for the show, I said to myself, even Samuel Doe, who was a military guy, did well for LBS than these Democratic presidents. Since Doe time, LBS were better than the LBS on the Ellen, the LBS on the We Are. And let's hope that the LBS on the Barker will be better. I was thinking that. But let's bring in Moses. He looks frown back there. I hope your gadget working tonight. All right. I mean, you're not telling the Mr. Telephone Man. There's something wrong with my line when I dial my baby's number. That what's going on tonight. Just dial the line, my man. You're not occupying my line here, man. This we got to get this thing right this weekend. I don't care what you do. You'll find a way for us to do it. All right. You don't tend to miss a telephone man, so just call in now. All right. You live.
Yeah, uh, it's a pleasure to be with you guys this evening
All right.
on the show.
Okay.
hmm
So hang tight
And
there.
great discussion.
Yeah. So we're starting from that Eugene Fagon's story. So let me go back quickly to the story as I continued the story from the guys. Um, there is a place here in the story where it talks about uh, so the president rejected Fagon's plan, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and and it says here that Fagon, known for his combative demeanor, previously served as Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information under the former ruling Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC. He later resigned from the CDC, apparently due to policy differences, and became disenchanted with the Weah Taylor administration throughout the 2023 presidential elections. However, his tenure at Information was marked by threats against journalists and poor relations with media institutions. He uh, rise to the director general position at LBS, or rather, his rise to the director general position at LBS was largely due to his loyalty and support for Boyka during the 2023 presidential election. It says currently Fagon is embroiled in a public dispute with the past LBS leadership led by Estella Liberty Camus, alleging mismanagement and fund misappropriation during her tenure. The conflict between Fagon and the past leadership has intensified over time. However, Fagon's allegations have been denied by former LBS Director General Camus, who has since filed a complaint with the Minister of Information, Geraldine McPeer. President Bouaga's stance on maintaining LBS as an inclusive platform underscores his commitment to freedom of expression and the democratic process. As Liberia navigates its political landscape, the role of media and the preservation of open dialogue remain crucial for nation's progress. Moses?
Look, Volcano, it's just unfortunate. And I would like to begin by looking at Eugene Fagon. And this is nothing personal. I'm just looking at Mr. Fagon from the standpoint of whether he's in fact qualified to be Director General at LBS. Mr. Fagon, and don't get me wrong, you don't need to have a PhD in journalism to be Director General at LBS. But I can tell you, Fagon lacks The basic things that anyone who occupies a position needs. Mr. Vagon is not a journalist. He's a propagandist. He's a social media podcaster. That's the credit that I can give him. He has no managerial skill. He was big, because of his close alliance with Stanton Witherspoon, the CEO of Spoon Communications Network. And Mr. Witherspoon has a close tie with President Boata. And we all know the role Spoon played in the election of the Unity Party, the leadership. So it was some business that Eugene Fagon was awarded. It was not a competitive process. They didn't say bring resume that clearly, states job experience and all of that. No. And for the director general of LBS to come and say, oh, well, he wants an LBS that will be a propaganda arm of government that will focus only on the stories from government, that will alienate the ordinary citizens, that will alienate the critical voices, that will alienate institutions such as the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, AJA, from being heard. It means that Mr. Fagon did not even read the decree that created the Liberia Broadcasting System. Decree number 20, PRC decree number 20, which created the Liberia Broadcasting System. Prior to the decree in 1968, when ratification turned LBS over to the government of Liberia, LBS became a state entity. The foremost objective of LBS is to consolidate the peace and unity of the people, propagate government messages, afford every Liberian equal opportunity to be heard. So for someone who occupied the most senior position at that place to propose to the president that he wants an LBS that would just, focus on propagating, you know, uh, what the president wants to hear, then Mr. Fagon did not read that. So he just told the president, hey, Mr. President, I don't even know what I'm doing here. For the president to say, Fagon, this is not a way to go, is a big slap in the face of Eugene Fagon. And I can tell you that Mr. Fagon days are numbered. There are just too many ministers at LBS. And I think what emboldened Mr. Fagon to say what he said today is when he became Director General and Mr. Boaka made a number of appointments at LBS, appointed deputy directors. Mr. Fagon refused to work with some of those people. He said he had no input, and the president caved in. Can you imagine? The Director General telling the president, the office of the president, that, oh, I can't work with Moses Sandy because I wasn't involved in the recruitment process. He recommended his own people. That's how the position of a Deputy Director General for what they call new media and rebranding came about. Fagon refused to work with Mr. Guy Flo, who was then appointed as Deputy Director General for
Media
Media
services. Media
Services,
services, right?
and several other guys. He refused to work with them. So to appease him, the president created that position, which is indeed another bureaucracy, a waste of resources. So President Baka instead created his own problem. And
Absolutely.
this is what he's dealing with. Let me stop there.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully that, the fact that the president has said what he has to say, you know, um, that lays the whole thing to rest. Now he knows that the president is not a guy who go to bed and wake up and forget about what he said, the day prior.
Mhm.
I guess some of them would know uh, that this president means well, and to some extent they will shoot as the themselves in the foot, and they will show that, you know, how do I call it, the incompetence at some point,
Of
because
course, yeah.
you should know the act, establishing LBS and the purpose for why LBS was established. um and you can silence the people,
You
you
cannot.
can silence the opposition. Everyone has a stake in the matter, otherwise then there should be no national radio station or no national media entity. Then let everyone bring their own stuff, like Mr. Witherspoon and Spoon Network. They can choose who they want to interview, who they want to bring on, who they want to do business with.
Absolutely.
But LBS cannot make that choice, picking and choosing. Everyone must be heard. And some of these guys, when they come to these positions, they come to appease, they come to worship the leader. Instead of being the one to say, Mr. President, you brought me here to set the tune, to create an open platform for everyone. Now, there will be opposition, there will be things said. Uh, uh, to say you can't bring Akaris Gray. Now, Akaris Gray time, they didn't want to bring opposition to LBS.
No.
That is why it showed incompetence on the part of those who led LBS, and it became a factional radio station, or it became a political party radio station. In
Yeah.
this case, if you're well learned, if you understand your responsibility, then you will be clear with that president that you send me here to propagate the country's message, the people's message. And irrespective of how hard some of the hardliners and what they say, so long profanities are not being used on the national radio, but in as much they'll say, Mr. Barker, you screw up here, Mr. Barker, this one happened here, we must carry it. Because that's the tenets of democracy. And I think at some point people will get to know. But let's not dwell on it. We've covered that. Let's go to the next topic quick, and go to the retreat. Tell me, just give a small summary before I play the clip. What is about the retreat, the cabinet retreat, that you want us to talk about tonight?
Well, the retreat ended today. The cabinet retreat, the 3-day cabinet retreat ended today. It's my understanding that it started.
If
The
you're
purpose,
using your microphone, you need to bring it closer to you.
yeah.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is that the retreat,
there you go.
the retreat ended today. It started Wednesday, 3 days. The purpose of that retreat was to bring together government officials. Uh, the president wanted to hear from them, their plans, the progress, the challenges, and formulate, a workable solution, in moving the government forward. So at the gathering, the president cautioned his officials that, hey, this is the time to work. If you are not ready to work, then you need to start, you know, uh, planning to leave, because he said he's committed to seeing productivity, and I think that's commendable. There, it's good to set measurable goals. It's good to tell people who report to you that, hey, this is what I want to see happening. Instead of people going to work and just sitting around computers and talking on their cell phones, and at the end of the month they get paid. We saw that 6 years ago. Nothing of such ever happened, when Mr. Weah governed Liberia. So the retreat was actually meant, to rejuvenate the spirit of productivity in government.
Okay.
Yes.
So quickly, Flomo Livingstone, you say here you can't just bring anyone to LBS to lie. Well, that's why the people who interviewing should be able to fast check and put that person in check. Everyone should be given the opportunity. And if you sit there and let the man lie and convince the Liberian people, then that's on you. But again, thank you for joining us here. Daniel uh, Colley Jr., it's a pleasure having you from GSA Road in Painesville. Welcome to the Issues Room tonight. We're discussing the things that matter, particularly to Liberia. Thomas Awaji said, thanks, Moses, for fixing the computer. But no, the main fix computer here, that trick we're playing here, my man. Thomas, you know what we're doing. That we talk about the guru in communication. I called my man, I told him what to do. I said, so he can hold the phone all night. The computer thing ain't fixed yet, but we did something. So the man looking good. The man still occupying my phone line. You didn't hear me doing Mr. Telephone Man by new edition. But anyway, we got it looking good. So let's go to the clip quick before we continue the conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Regarding the retreat.
Yeah, the retreat.
So let me find that clip quick and share it. What did he say doing tonight? You want Alan Moses
You
computer?
go to Moses saying, yeah, you're going to see a retreat day too.
No, I got the clip. I mean, I think funny that one see one I layer B.
I know.
Okay, stay acting funny. Hold on, let me see. These things. What's wrong with them? Oh, no, I don't care how much money you put in it, when the writer asks to pay, they can add it.
You know,
To say,
the Eugene Fagon swell.
yeah, you know what I mean? Guess what? I've been down the road too many times.
Yeah,
I'm from the
Daniel
old.
Sano.
Listen, I'm from the old school of broadcasting. the days when we were broadcasting, you think that we're not even around. You'll be ad libbing and changing the tape, cassette, and you're back then. You don't even know whether that's side A or side B, but you can move your mouth from the mic and you talking. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
old school. But let's go to Daniel Sando, right?
Deputy Minister.
Yeah, for public affairs.
You know, he's for
Technical,
technical
yeah,
services.
technical,
But
yeah, okay.
Liberia is just an interesting place, man. You have a Deputy Minister for technical services.
Ministries and agencies and commissions of government were required to make presentation, and those presentations were followed by an interactive discourse by the panel, including the president, vice president, and members in the cabinet. Now, in attendance were deputy ministers, assistant ministers, heads and deputy heads of state-owned enterprises. And it was very good. So yesterday, the first presentation was focused on the president arrest agenda, and that was done by the Minister of Agriculture to lay out the president arrest agenda from agriculture to tourism. And we also talk about how the arrest agenda can fit into the National Development Plan. The Ministry of Information was also able to make a presentation yesterday. That presentation basically focused on how to synchronize and manage government communication in a way that the people can have trust and confidence in the government process of the country. Because here we are, if we don't coordinate the messages of government and the distorted misinformation out there about the government, the people tend to distrust the government and they wouldn't believe what the government says. So part of yesterday's work was for the Ministry of Information to make a detailed presentation on how to manage governance communication, the importance, and how to go about it, some of the constraints we face as a government in terms of communication. All those things were laid out yesterday. The Director of Cabinet also stressed the importance of coordination among cabinet members. Coordination. He said that's the only way we can achieve the president arrest agenda. We all have to be on the same path in terms of coordination, information sharing, and linking up with each other in terms of how we execute our various functions. After the close of yesterday, the Ministry of Finance did a detailed presentation incorporating on the new framework for the formulation of the 2025 national budget. The revenue component of it was presented by the Liberia Revenue Authority. The Commissioner General basically emphasized in his presentation the way they intend to take the revenue envelope from where it is now to 1 billion. So that's where we stopped yesterday. And as we resume this morning, we're going to have more presentations, right? And by tomorrow, something is going to happen at the concluding date of the retreat.
So let's dive into the president of opening remark where he talked about being to manage our expectations when it was the max. So into what were the
The president didn't. I didn't hear the president say that. What I heard the president emphasize was the need for officials of government to be very effective in executing their duty. The president basically stated that we didn't come here for too much talking. We came here to be very practical. And he said, as for the arrest agenda, it's emotion. If you can deliver, you have to step aside. So there's no room for excuses. Those were the key takeaway from the president opening remarks, which I think for me is very challenging for officials of government, because we live in a time where every sector of our country is challenged. The government inherited a country with multi-sectoral challenges, right? So there's no room for excuses. We have to be very practical. From agriculture to sanitation, the president urged cabinet members to be very practical in how to go about accomplishing the goals of the government, right? The National Development Plan is being formulated. The framework for the formulation of the National Development Plan was also presented by the Ministry of Finance yesterday. So it's a whole detailed, presentation or event that is ongoing. And I mean, we wouldn't hope for the best for our country, because at the end of the retreat, the Liberian people expect to see more of these things happening, right? On the side of the retreat yesterday, pipeline water restored to Central Monrovia, which is very impressive. A very good start for the Liberian Water and Sewer Corporation. There are challenges all over the country. The way the Liberian people will believe this government, the way the Liberian people will distinguish the government from past government is how we go about addressing it. Okay? The president also, in his opening remark yesterday, made a very practical decision. After the first presentation, they were into action, and a member of the disabled community raised a very important concern that the disabled community have been captured in the development process of the country in terms of budgeting and what have you. And the president instructed the Minister of Finance and the relevant agency to capture the disabled community in terms of budgeting and development planning. So progress has been made. And we come here not just to talk, but to put ideas together, all intended to see how we can move the country forward.
The last presentation was from us the entire group yesterday. That was Commissioner Right. We presented and said that we can be able to raise up to 700 million in this year budget, and then the following year we can be able to increase it to 1 billion. But look at the constraint that we face, then we should be able to bring up to that.
Well, I mean, I'm not a financial person. I cannot say, I'm not in a position to say whether the government can raise the national envelope from 700 million to 1 billion. What we have to do as a country is to listen to the experts. They have told us that the current budget will perform, and by the next budget year, we can raise the envelope to $1 billion, which I think makes a lot of sense. From the presentation he did yesterday, and the avenues are there. We're discovering more avenues in terms of revenue generation. We can raise our revenue envelope to $1 billion. We can make it. We can do as a country. So it's not to be doubtful about. We can only be hopeful as a country, because if we be able to raise the revenue envelope, then the government can go to invest in other productive sector of the economy, and that's how the people begin to feel the impact of the government. Another thing I was also talking about yesterday is a program-based budget. That moving forward, the national budget has to be program-based. The Ministry of Finance did a presentation also. I talked about a team of experts that are currently out of the country being trained how to formulate a program-based budget. They are doing the country in the next week or so. When they come back, they will be deployed to various sectors, ministry, agency, and the process of formulating a program-based budget will ensue immediately. So a lot of things have been said here, a lot of things have been done, and the overall goal is to effectuate the president arrest agenda.
All right, so that's okay.
I think that's good enough. But what captures your imagination here? Because one of the things that I quickly was able to pay attention to is the president telling the finance minister to capture the disabled community in the budget. Where is the vice president's office that is responsible for creating a budget to address that? I believe the first lady, right, of the vice president, the second lady, rather, the wife of the vice president is usually heading the group of 77. So didn't they put a budget forth? Or didn't the Ministry of Youth and Sports put a budget forth? So How did not captured in the budget, or is it just a peanut money and it needs to be augmented? So I just wanted to speak to that.
Well,
I
quickly,
think.
if I can
Mhm.
just listen. Oh, Alfonso, you want to go? Okay, go.
Go, Moses. Go.
Yeah.
Well, what I wanted to say is that basically the idea of bringing all of the government sectors and officials together to discuss the government's agenda, and to really lay down benchmarks and achievable benchmarks is commendable. I That's something that's required in any organization. You need to know where you're starting from, and you need to establish where you want to go and how you want to get there. So to that extent is extremely commendable. Oh, it's happened before though. We've had retreats on Mr. Sarif, and I'm not sure, but I also believe on Mr. Weir. So I hope that I'm also impressed by the fact that this government wants to develop a program-based project. What that tells me is that they want to tackle the challenges of the country, the challenges that the country is facing. They want to identify those challenges and say the budget is basically the biggest and most important law that's made every year by every government. The budget tells you, it tells people what it is that the government priorities are and where the government wants to take the country to. And by making the budget a programs based budget, you're basically breaking it down to programs to tell the people this is what we are focusing on. We want to build this road, we want to build this school, we want to build this clinic, etc. So, in terms of creating a programs based budget, that's one thing that I took away from that presentation that I think it's also commendable. Again, let's go to implementation. Implementation has always been the Achilles heels of Liberian government officials. And one of the critical pieces that has been lacking is coordination between and amongst relevant government agencies in terms of implementing programs. I heard that word from what the deputy minister said, that the president wants coordination between the various government agencies to make sure that they work. Once, if they're working in silos, they would never accomplish the goal. And that's one of the ways that resources are wasted and lost. For example, you have the Ministry of Development Planning doing its own things regarding development planning and development. And you have Public Works doing their own thing. You have Youth and Sports doing their own thing, and you have Ministry of Health doing their own thing. That in they're just, but if they're able to bring the resources together and coordinate and work together, they can accomplish those things that the government wants to accomplish. For example, Ministry of Information wants to focus on tourism. Guess what? They can probably work with the Ministry of Public Works to say we have the Sapo National Park. How can we build a road there? How can we work with this and the public works to build a road, to put a hotel, to get work with the investment commission, see how we can get somebody to invest in a hotel in that place, those kinds of things. So coordination in government, as is the case in every institution, is extremely important. So those were just some of the my takeaways from that presentation by the deputy minister.
Moses.
Yeah. You talk about the physically challenged or the disadvantage or people with disabilities not being captured in the budget, and the president wants those people to be captured. Um, I had an opportunity of listening to the Minister of Information a few days ago. He said that he was a little bit disappointed that government made available to the ministry $2.8 million for government or for the ministry's operation. And of that amount, $2.1 million is basically for salaries. So it means that they had only $700,000 to operate with. And what really struck my attention was that he said uh, what was submitted to the Ministry of Finance as a budget is something that his team met. So it's like they inherited a projection that they had no input in, and that it was predicated on that. The legislature, you know, has a budget, and whatever figure that those people or the previous administration, headed by Legislative Rennie and the others, whatever they they asked for is what the Walker administration gave them. So I'm saying this to say that it is likely that the previous administration, the we administration, may have paid little or no attention to people with disabilities. So when this budget was uh, uh, enacted,
No, no, no. Not
the
them. Say prepared.
I mean was passed
No,
when it
no.
was passed into law.
Hold on now.
When it, eh?
When it was prepared, they may have left
Yeah,
them out.
the budget was prepared by the we
That's what
administration.
I'm saying. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. So when the budget was passed, I mean was prepared by the we administration, it is likely,
that's what I'm
just
saying.
from hearing from the Minister of Information, it is likely that the previous administration paid little no attention, to the physically challenged or people with disability. Volcano, if a whole government will allocate, $30,000 for mental health, then you cannot, worry about they not even looking at people with disability. So they may have inherited this, the budget passed by the legislature, and now the president and the others look through this, but there's nothing here for people with disabilities. So maybe he wants to see some budgetary, allocation made, and I think that's commendable. And something I also heard that really stands out is that the intent by the revenue authority, the LRA, they're talking about uh, for fiscal year 2025, they are thinking about, increasing government, or budget from $700,000 to $1 billion.
Is that increasing the budget or raising money? I don't think it's the
Eh?
budget.
I mean, when I said, I mean, they're trying to raise the money too, because right now the allocation is 700. They
Mhm.
want to increase that to $1 billion.
But
Come
I think they're
2025.
saying that they can raise up to $1 billion.
Yes, okay, they can raise up to. Yeah, they say that they can raise up to $1 billion. That's commendable. That's highly commendable. I think we should applaud the administration and all of these things that they are putting in place. I think they are laudable. But again, like you guys said, it is easier said than done. You can sit down, you have all these, discussions, you have all these ideas,
Everybody been
but
coming with their own agendas. The Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the PRS and the GSS, all kinds of stuff. Everybody just come up with acronyms and then they fall short of everything. If
yeah.
even President Bouazizi, right, in
Mhm.
that arrest agenda can only get two things out of it, I'm grateful, particularly agriculture and tourism. Those two sectors in the country can change the country immensely if the focus can be on agriculture. The people are fighting over just the small increment in rice price. So why don't you focus on agriculture more? Focus on tourism more, bringing more, you know, tourism stuff in the
Yeah, bring
country,
in more
like
tourists, create more trade,
like you talk about the Sapo rainforest, you talk about Batawi, you talk about uh, like Piso, you talk about like Shebro, you talk about there's so many places in Liberia. We have 300 miles of territorial water, ocean waters. We have many rivers in the country, and those rivers connected to the ocean. Those rivers goes way into the hinterland. You can do what we call the ferry ride. That's a
hmm
lot, and you build nice little, you know, hotels, resorts and stuff along the rivers, the St. John, the Blofa, the St. Paul. We got all of this, and we got Chinese men that coming there digging sand, causing problem for our ecosystem. Chinese men in the night they're stealing from us. Look, we need to do better with our country. All this Grunabog government thing you guys did to this country, all the criminal thing needs to change. And I'm asking for two things in this arrest agenda. Tourism can change. Look at Jamaica right here. The other day, I go jump in Spirit Airlines. Say I go in Jamaica. The nigga with the plane landed only for me to go see Africa. I said, but the Jamaica had the people bragging about. The road said to go to the resort. Oh, ugly road, bad road, narrow. Liberia said got better roads from Montego Bay to where I was going. Then you
And
end
yet you
up
got Liberians trooping to
oh,
Jamaica.
and
Oh.
then you got the very Jamaica. I mean the resort, and I'm looking at the ocean. I said, but we ain't got ocean. That is the Atlantic. I'm looking at the ocean. I said, but our ocean right here. Then I said, hey, God, who said I could just walk from here to Liberia, cross the B and go and go home? But I'm just saying these things in joke, but it's the truth. Jamaica ain't got nothing on Liberia when it comes to natural resources. Jamaica ain't got nothing on Liberia when it comes to land mass. But the people utilize tourism to enhance their economy. And we can do the same because we have more. More on the other hand. It's not just rivers, it's not just the oceans. We have mountainous region. We have forest. So tourism is not just about beaches and hotels. No, landmarks, important landmarks. So we got a lot of work to do. So President Barker, if you're hearing us here tonight, my position to you from this retreat: start working hard on agriculture. We got to get back to the soil. We got to try to feed ourselves instead of crying over small increment in rice price, which is influenced by the global economy. And we can push for our tourism sector. Now that we want to say Delta is coming back, we can encourage more airlines to come, and let's improve our sector. I see, Alfonso, you open your mic. It looks like you want to jump
Yeah,
in.
yeah, no, and thank you guys. So, you guys hit two key things here. I'll just pick up one, which is tourism. Tourism, and you guys talk about tourism. Tourism is the largest job creating industry, especially in emerging economies, developing countries and economies. Tourism creates a lot of levels of jobs. Why? Let's say, for example, somebody comes from wherever and goes to the Patari waterfalls. They want to buy a mask, an African mask. They want to buy an African basket. Who's making it? The poor man and woman in the village. So now they have a market to make their baskets and to sell, right? There's a hotel there. So now the owner of the hotel is running a hotel and is making business. He's able to pay people to work in that hotel. So you see the chain of jobs that are being created. There are restaurants. There's somebody cooking some kind of food there that people will go buy. So it creates multiple. That restaurant owner will now hire two or three, four people. Then the fishermen will bring their fish because now they have market for their fish and all of those things. So tourism to developing countries is a significant job creator. So if we just and unfortunately successive Liberian governments have not seen the need to invest in tourism. This government is talking about increasing revenue generation. Well, that's one area you can increase revenue. Just by and we don't have to even begin big. We have the places, we have the resources. Let's just start from Monrovia. I've said it multiple times. Let's just start from Monrovia. When we were growing up, some of you grew in Monrovia, some of us didn't grow in Monrovia, but we used to come from vacation. When we come from vacation, we
Born,
go to
born and rare.
yeah, we go to Providence Island. The people performing on Providence Island. The
You
culture
couldn't
troupe.
believe it those days, my
Oh my
man.
man, I used to sing on the island. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. So you were what is it?
Yeah, it was
People performing the island.
music
That
was
island bears so much historic significance as well as an entertainment destination.
oh yeah, it is. It is.
That's one of the places in Africa that free slaves were returned to. One of the few places, two places in Africa slaves were returned to. Sierra Leone and Liberia, and the Providence Island is one of those significant places. Ghana raised over $1 billion in 2018 in their year of return. Where else did African Americans, former slaves, return to than Liberia? Just Again, the other point I want to make regarding tourism is it's about marketing. Somebody said, I think Sarah Double, and we all said it. Liberia has a lot of tourist places and attractions, but we need the marketing. We don't have it. People running to Jamaica, as you said, Volcano, because they're marketing the tourist industry. People running to Rwanda. Why? Because they're marketing the tourist industry. The young lady that was placed over the Rwandan tourism industry went ahead at what's this team? Arsenal was able to get Arsenal to advertise Rwandan tourism industry.
Hmm.
So they have on their jerseys, visit Rwanda. When our friends Ledger who and other people did the so-called year of return to Liberia, this guy came from here, a journalist, African American journalist, and he asked them,
You're talking about the bicentennial?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and the guy asked them, why did you say you want Africans to return? Why did you advertise this thing? Are you on? So they say we got a website. He said, what is a website? You can't go to a website. You gotta go to a website when you know the website exists. And who goes to a website? Who go on the web looking for a website and say, let me see, maybe I will see a website on Liberia Bicentennial. You got to engage through social media. It gets right in front of the people. And you want African Americans to return to Africa. Did you advertise in the places that African Americans live? How would they know that you're having this bicentennial and ask them to return? Let me on this note. Go to South Carolina. There's a whole belt. It goes into the other way, almost along the coast in the south, the entire south. North Carolina, South Carolina, going into they call it the Gola Geechee Belt. The Gola Geechee Belt is people brought from West Africa. They still live, they still fish, they still make baskets, they still live along that belt. Their food, their stuff, gumbo, the same way we pour our meat and tin in the food and cook it. These are the places we need to go and talk to these people and see how they are the people, but we never even advertise to them. Then we say we're holding Centennial in the Macam. How would they have gone there? One of the, and I hope this administration listens, our brothers who are in the Ministry of Information listen, in our sister who was recently appointed from Aja to head tourism. I hope she listens and they do their homework because it's very important. Holding the position is one thing, but actually understanding and trying to engage is another. And they need to listen and pick up some of these pieces.
Hold on, Moses. Let
No,
me
no,
just go to
yeah.
intermission quick. If you just joining us, welcome to the Issues Room. We're here with our 233rd broadcast, 233. And this evening, we're discussing the things that matter to Liberia. We encourage you to share the link, invite others here to join us. Moses, Volcano, and Alphonso. We're here on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 p.m. in Liberia. We pray that this platform will grow. We come here to talk about our country and in a positive way. Why it is true that we can't fix everything, but we can fix some things and the things that matter the most, like Moses says. So, again, thank you for joining us. Sarah Dopo, it's a pleasure having you here tonight. G. Gwen Jones Smith, Daniel Colley Jr., Flomo Livingston, of course. It's always good to see you, Thomas Awaji. Thank you, John Stem. And we see someone who came all the way from, will come to him is BK Nelson Bond, or Don, rather, D-A-H and Don from Saclay, Nimba County. Good that you could join us all the way up there. We know that Nimba is the modern county now with 24 hours electricity. So good that you can join us from up there. Forja Moyu, thank you for coming through tonight. River says pro, of course. It's good to have you in the house. Raymond Clark, it's a pleasure. And our man, William McDavis, thank you. Hashim Fambule, Manin Sumo, and all of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Continue to share the link, spread the word. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on LinkedIn. Moses?
Yeah, quickly, I just wanted to say something regarding tourism. Uh, I agree with the both of you. The tourism sector of Liberia needs a lot of work to be done on. Government has to invest in that area because tourism is like a diamond mine that we're sitting on, and we just need to take advantage of this opportunity.
Especially with the
But
geographical region of our country.
yeah, but it appears that our political leaders, sometimes they make these pronouncements, but when it comes to monetary or logistical support, then they begin to drag their feet. Take, for example, the Minister of Information again, Pia. I listened to him. He said the ministry has $700,000 for operation. Their budgetary allocation was $2.8 million. I mean, yeah, $2.8 million, and $2.1 million is basically for salaries.
Mhm.
He said it went back to the legislature. They were able to maneuver their way, and the lawmakers gave them additional $400,000. So when you do the math, you're talking about
Two.
$3.2 million. So if you take out the salaries, they're gonna be left with
1.1.
a little
1.1.
over,
1.1
yeah,
million.
yeah, it will be left with $1.1 million. Now, um, for the serving, this weekend, which is taking place in Monrovia, he said he got directive from the executive mansion that the $400,000 which the lawmakers gave them, they should take $100,000 and give it to a group of private individuals. Even though he said, well, they're working with the Ministry of Information, but the tourism department itself has little or no input in the serving, this international serving competition that is taking place in Rawalsport. The Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, its input in that, particular activity is very minimal. But yet government asked the ministry to give $100,000. The minister said um, the tourism department does not even have a bicycle or motorbike for staff of the tourism department to travel from one location to another because they got hotels, they got other individuals who are doing businesses in the area of tourism. They need to make sure that these businesses are registered, there are expectations that the ministry has in place. But how do you travel when you don't have the logistics? That's what the minister was complaining about. So if tourism is to develop in Liberia, then our commitment has to go beyond mere public pronouncements. I heard Mr. Boaka, President Boaka, when he took over the country, he said, uh, tapping into the tourism sector of the country is one of his foremost, commitment. But if this is one of your foremost commitment, then why is the Ministry of Information crying that the tourism department is literally dead? No support. In fact, the entire ministry, the only man who has a vehicle right now, government vehicle, is the Minister of Information. The rest of the other deputy ministers, they either hitching ride or using their own private cars. So the administration is really challenged, but I hope that things will improve for the better. Yeah.
So it brings us back to what I said. Instead of the president expanding on the arrest plan, take two of the most important components and focus on it for the next 2 or 3 years. I will be fine with it. Especially agriculture and tourism. Those are money making baskets.
Yeah.
Instead of being an octopus trying to go with your tentacles in
So
everything.
whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Take those two things and focus on it.
Yeah, do it
Bring the
gradually,
right
my
people
man.
on board. You
Yeah.
have a foreign minister who has some international contacts and clout out there. Use Sarah Beslow Yanati to go out there and propagate the message in our that we developing our tourism sector, and we want to encourage our foreign partners to join us. The information minister can crusade that. The deputy for cultural affairs and tourism can crusade that. Many of the other institutions can crusade that. And you focus on that. You get the minister of agriculture focusing on agriculture. Because if you can grow enough food in the country and begin to export some of those foods, that's income generating.
Yeah.
You already have a crisis now. The crisis, in fact, the people were protesting to fire Amin Modad. Why the
Oh
man carrying
wow.
the rice price up? Like to say
My
that the man
goodness.
made a decision by himself, he just woke up and say, we're carrying rice price up.
Yeah.
All of the things they said about why this rice price is going up, because it's influenced by the production and all of that from the people who exporting it to you who importing it. Didn't see that one, but they put sour, or they, in fact, not even put sour again.
Yeah,
That
it's the
Indian rice they eat
Indian,
it, they eating.
yeah, Indian rice,
Okay,
particular grade.
and and
Yeah.
and 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 they're looking at firing somebody, but they can't go to the soil. They got all the swampland right behind it. Everybody wants to sit down in Monrovia. If I tell you how Monrovia is packed and the interior empty, you will not believe it. Go Monrovia, stack just sardine. Even the farmers themselves don't want to farm now. They just want to sit down in the city. So instead of going back to the soil and growing. So, Mr. President and your officials, all that retreating you're doing there, focus on two major things and do it well in the first 2 to 3 years. Let's start seeing some deliverables in those two sectors. I can guarantee you that the other things will fall in place. It will fall in place. And we have some folks who can make it happen. You have the international community, they're willing to. But don't pleasurize on other people's plan. Do your own stuff from scratch and let it meet the aspirations of the Liberian people. Let it be Liberian think. This is how Liberia tourism sector will look. This is how our agriculture sector will look. And when we do those things, then we can make the case. But other than that, Mr. President, you can't do everything at once. Arrest is too big of an agenda yet. Start with the two major things. Because again, I remind you, Mr. President, you may be able to influence that the rice price may not increase right now because the importers are having respect for you. But when it gets to the point where the importers can no longer import rice and it becomes a die-hard situation, you will cave in and the rice price will have to go up because you cannot argue for the price of something that you cannot produce. You can only have control over something that you can produce. And when you start producing rice locally, you will be able to influence the price adjustments. So it's just my thought.
I think it's a very good thought. We have to prioritize. You can't do everything. Unfortunately, the country is reeling in every sector. There's no one sector that we can say, oh, this sector is a little better or it's done now, so let's leave it. We need roads. We want to do tourism, we need roads. When the tourists come, they got to get to the tourist sites. We need electricity. When they come, they need to
But
have.
you know what I said to myself when I was leaving Montego
Yeah,
Bay to go to the
yeah,
resort. I said, but all the money the people collecting here in Jamaica, look at this road.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
not building the roads.
yeah,
So it was a turn off.
yeah.
You don't
Oh,
see
of
anything
course.
in Jamaica until you get to the resort. And the resort is not
Yeah.
even extraordinary. Let's also talk.
No,
You just go for
I
a
agree.
vacation to eat and
Mhm,
sleep and enjoy
mhm.
the ocean breeze. That's all. Nothing
I agree.
extraordinary.
I agree. Hey, I went to a resort in South Africa in the bush in the forest. We go there, you walk in the bushes, and you go, and then you go there. But not to explain my experience here. So I think yes, the need to prioritize. I totally agree with you. I think the issue of also working on the roads is extremely important, and I think so far I gave them a high mark for beginning to work on the roads because people need to get to these attraction sites. If we can't drive to Cape Mount, then we'll not be able to get to Lake Pisa, for instance. So it's important, and I think the government has been in place for 4 months, so it's important to begin to tell them these things. Prioritize. Look at the low hanging fruits. Invest in the things that will bring you quick impact, and then you can go to the bigger ones and more difficult ones that will take a long time. So I definitely agree with you. Agriculture, tourism. I think that the focus on road construction is also very important because that's a conduit. And then gradually, we'll also will make progress in the area of electricity because we need all of those things. But as I said earlier, we can even just begin investing in tourism in Monrovia. That local tourism too. It's not just people coming from out of the country. Local people can go to Cape Town and stay in hotel and go to Lake Piso and do whatever. Local people can go to um, Providence Island and spend money so that old man can sell her kobo and then go buy another bag of rice. And the rice importer now, and the rice distributor, everybody's making money out of the process. So we can begin to invest. George Weah then built something on the beach that I forget the name, the park, the Unification Park. That could be used and turned into another, historic area that people can go. People were killed there. 14, 13 government officials were killed there. But we also had a civil war where 200,000 people were killed. That place could be used and as a symbol of all of our struggles and the things that we have. Make it big. This is Liberia's unification pact. This is you build put a unification monument. Build stuff. People will go there. They pay to enter. That's jobs creation and resource generating. Before we even go all the way to the southeast to the
Right? They
yeah.
shouldn't get a guy who did We Are Monument in Clarendon, Clarendon.
No, yeah, that other monument there.
They shouldn't get a guy. That person who did We Are Monument, my man, made a man
Yeah.
look poor for Madaha in
you
You not see the poor
know.
for Madaha. You not see the poor for Madaha in Monument. Okay, yeah. What
Yeah, so,
sculpture?
yeah.
What do you call it? Sculpture, right?
Mhm.
Sculpture.
Yes,
That's
yes.
sculpture,
Sculpture.
yeah.
Where that
Sculpture.
sculpture came from?
Yeah. So, and I think it's Sarah Dopo saying
And see
we
this
need to invest.
That
We
CDC
need to
sculpture.
invest. Yeah, we need to invest in the creative arts. We need to invest in the creative arts, the performing arts, the music, the dancing, all of those things. The movies. In 2017, I believe it was, Nigeria economy surpassed the economy of South Africa. Briefly though, but it did. And it did because of the entertainment industry, the
That,
creative arts
that,
and
that
industry.
in Nollywood.
Yeah, that the Nollywood, the movies, the music, all of that. Nigeria briefly surpassed. The only thing that made them to fall later is the South African economy is more diversified than the Nigerian economy. So once the oil prices crash on the global market, Nigeria is done. So they went down. But South Africa got mining, they got all of those things. So just stuff like that. Just we have Malawala, Balawala, we have all those people, all of these things, as you say, used to perform on Providence Island. We help these creative industries to rise and to succeed. And that's one role that the Ministry of Information can play, tourism can play
Okay,
in that direction.
we're running out of time now. So Moses, let's go to the last segment here. The segment that has to do with Kef Hassan.
Yeah.
Give us a quick summary so we can go into conversation.
Well, this is a private matter, but we thought to discuss this matter
Hey, you
as
got to project with your
professional
mic
people,
again.
as journalists. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, now.
Okay. We thought to bring this subject matter, to the public because it has to do with two prominent Liberians, Mr. Stanton Witherspoon, chief executive, former chief executive officer of Spoon Communications Network, and one of the lead panelists at Spoon TV, Dr.
You mean Spoon
Francine
Talk, not Spoon
Chenoweth.
TV, Spoon Talk.
Yeah, Spoon Talk, yeah. Dr. Francine Chenoweth Richardson. In 2023, before the general presidential election, a former host of Spoon Talk, Mr. Kev Concern, he went publicly. He made some serious allegations. He said when the Spoon Talk crew traveled to Monrovia in 2023, the hotel in which they were residing, he went to Mr. Spoon's hotel and he met,
I mean, he went to
he,
Spoon's room, that
yeah,
hotel.
Spoon room, yeah,
Okay.
the hotel. He went to the room where he was, and then he said he met Mr. Witherspoon and Dr. Francine Chenoweth Richardson in a compromised position, implying that there existed, some extramarital relationship between the two. And this guy made a very wild allegation. So after making this allegation against two prominent citizens,
And
in fact, he
let
said
me
that
add,
he has a video recording.
and then he also added that Spoon shared with him how the
Yeah,
lady.
yeah. You
Okay.
said even on the talk show, sometime Spoon with text when they're
Okay.
having talk show, oh yeah, she do my, she's my girl and all those kind of crazy stuff. And he said a lot of things about this lady. This woman is married. So yesterday, I was on Facebook and I saw a post uh, which quoted Mr. Kev Hassan as saying that he apologized or he has apologized to Dr. Francine, and that he will come publicly on Facebook to verbally, apologize to this woman for what he did. Now, I'm also hearing that after Kevin Song made the allegation against Stanton and Dr. Richardson, a lawsuit was filed, and the case is currently in court. So while this case is in court, Mr. Kevin Song now, I don't know how this case is going, but Kev reportedly has chosen to go ahead, to express regret. And it is my understanding that he spoke to Dr. Richardson yesterday and apologized. It is also reported that Dr. Richardson, accepted the apology. So all now that is needed is for him to come publicly and express regret for what he said. I had the privilege of listening to Mr. Stanton himself. I think 2 days ago, and in fact, and yeah, 2 days ago, I heard um, Mr. Mr. Witherspoon saying, "Hey, it is true that Kev reached out to Dr. Richardson. He apologized, and he will also come publicly to apologize for what happened." Dr. Richardson, according to him, has accepted the apology, and he also, Clinton Witherspoon, has also decided to let go what happened. And his direct quote was that uh, to err is human and to forgive is what divine or something like
Divine,
that.
divine.
Yeah, it's divine. So as far as concerned, we are all Liberians. When stuff like this happen, we should just let it go. Um, like I said, this is a private matter. Both Dr. Richardson and Mr. Witherspoon have the right to either accept or not to. But as a journalist, I think if I were in the position of Mr. Witherspoon and Dr. Richardson, I would not take this easily. I will accept the apology, but the legal the legal action, I will pursue the legal action to the fullest. Because what Mr. Kefansan did is that he threw a dent, or he put a dent in the image of these prominent Liberians. He created a condition. Don't forget, man, Stanton Witherspoon is a married man. Dr. Richardson is also a married woman. So what Kev did, he brought the integrity of these people to public disrepute. He brought the integrity of the families of these people to public disrepute. So if I were in the position of any of these guys, I would make sure that the legal process, continues. Not because I want to be vindictive, but look, in our community, we have to learn to hold people accountable. What I heard Stanton say 2 days ago was that, well, Kat said, oh, well, he said what he said at the time because it was the political season. No, I think it is preposterous for anyone to say something like that. Say, well, he did it because it was the political season. Asad kept is telling us that he was intoxicated, which of course I disagree with. He was never intoxicated. When you are intoxicated, your ability to think and act rationally is impaired. But I don't think, he was. He made a public pronouncement. He said he has video clippings, he had text messages, and all of that. I think
He should produce
Mr.
those things
Kefenson should be held liable.
and produce those things.
He needs to be held liable. Let him produce the evidence, and the law should take a course.
So why you think what's his name, Stanton is now,
Stanton,
yeah, is now being merciful to air his humor and to forgive his divine? Is it because he got halo,
man,
halo hanging over his head, so he trying to subtle way put it as he air as a humor, and the American people should forgive him because it's divine, or the justice system should forgive him because it's divine. But
no,
but but let me
Volcano.
give Alfonso a few minutes
Yeah,
here to weigh in, then I will come with my position. Go ahead, Alfonso.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a sad situation all around. People's reputations and families were at stake in this whole situation. Um, but as Moses said, it's a personal situation. When these things happen, uh, females unfortunately get victimized more than once.
Yeah.
So now this man said this, and who knows? If this woman goes to court, in open court, she will have to face this situation. People going and sitting in court and all of that, and hearing all of these things. That's another forum through which she will be dragged through the mud as well, and all of these things. So it's I don't know the specifics of it. I really don't feel comfortable discussing, having a conversation about it, because as we talk about it, we're also kind of making more and more people to hear, and it's difficult to unhear things. And then, of course, the repetition gets smeared as well. I agree with Moses. It's important to hold people accountable so that people don't just get up and just say or do things to people only because they can come and apologize tomorrow. So accountability serves as a deterrence to those people and others who might be thinking about doing those things. I, however, do not know the considerations that went into Dr. Richardson's uh, accepting
Acceptance.
accepting the apology, and maybe it's based on an agreement, a discussion to say you got to apologize uh, to me personally and publicly, and then we will draw the case from court and whatever. Maybe that's what's happening, because those things usually happen in court cases. 80 to 90% of court cases are settled out of court, not in court. So again, this is just one of them. But yeah, it's a sad situation. and I hope they can put it to bed as quickly as possible.
And you're right. You're right. Even having conversation around it is still uncomfortable because it's almost like reenacting the whole stage. I saw that clip from Kev on the closing argument. I saw the disbelief in the face of Tomalin George. I saw how he was crunched and he didn't see it coming. The political season was on and it was just going crazy. But he should have considered that there is a tomorrow, and if he indeed lied about everything he said, then indeed he has to come clean. He has to come and tell you and myself, because I have gone on imagining, the situation and thinking that wow, this happened, and also second guessing myself. Maybe no, this guy could be lying. So let him come and tell the world that indeed, uh, is wrong, and let's see where that goes. The same way he came publicly to make this disclosure. If he lied about it, then he must come publicly to retract it. That would be my position. But gentlemen, I think we will close from here, and so let's go quickly to memory lane and capture what Dr. Sumo has said here tonight. This one is captured: a nation of complainers, a nation of complainers. Memory lane by Dr. Mane Sumo. And it is said, be careful what you pray for. For many years now, my nation, the nation I love so much, the one that gave me identity, had turned into a nation of complainers. Nothing is right in Liberia. Everyone is law to themselves. In my nation, everyone knows everything. My nation is a nation of lawyers, public policy makers, constitutional scholars, politicians, but no engineers, no doctors, no agriculturalists, and no one listens to the other. Complaining can be a way for people to regulate their emotions and bond, but too much complaining can lead to negativity and a negative outlook on life. Complaining can be caused by personality traits, political rhetorics, or bad moods. It can be, or rather, it can also be a sign that someone feels unheard and repeats negative comments until they feel validated. As an individual, a continuous circle of negative thoughts may cause damage to the hippocampus, the part of the brain used for problem solving and cognitive functioning. Over time, complainers become negative addicts.
Become negative.
Yeah, become negative addicts rather, attracted to
Mhm.
drama that comes with a complaining attitude. I have been sad lately, so sad that I wonder if Liberians, instead of bounding in peace and unity, had become non-hippocampus. Most Liberians have lost their cognitive abilities and have become negative addicts. We have lost our think tankers. In 1847, there were only two political parties in Liberia at independence, namely the pro-administration party and the anti-administration party, and Liberia then enjoyed relative peace. In 1848, the Republican Party of Liberia was established and joined the ranks of the pro-administration party and the anti-administration party. Soon after the formation of the Republican Party, the anti-administration party dissolved and joined the Republican Party, and there was peace and tranquility in Liberia. In 1869, the True Party, the TWP of Liberia, was founded. Along the lines, there were one party at the time challenging the True rule, like the Union Party of Samuel Benedict, the People's Party of Thomas Faulkner, and the United People's Party of D. Twe. Yet, Liberians at that time maintained the hippocampus. In 1979, when In the Cause of the People arrived and multi-party was born in Liberia, we now have over 30 political parties and Liberians have lost the hippocampus. So does multi-party stand for multi-nation or rather multi-division? Even in the USA, which is the champion of modern day democracy, she only has two major political parties. The third is an insignificant independent or Tea Party. Open your eyes and minds, my fellow Liberians. What is democracy? Where is sweet Liberia? A coming peace.
Another great piece. What I pick up from this is you heard him make reference to Liberians becoming. I think my interpretation would be that a good number of people becoming addicted to gossips, and I tend to agree with him. In our community, a lot of organizations, a lot of families have been destroyed as a result of these people who are addicted to gossips. They will come, they say something negative about me to you, they leave and go to Alfonso and say something negative to Alfonso about you, Volcano. As a result, the three of us just become, and it becomes difficult for us to work together. Uh, and, you know, things just get out of control. The work environment become hostile. Our relationship, begin to crumble, or our relationship will crumble. A lot of us are committed to that. I know a group of people. Whenever they call you, the first thing they say, "Oh man, you heard about that man? Oh man, you can't even man bought house that you can't even afford to pay for." But what do I have to do with that?
Yeah.
You have to call me from work to tell me about whether somebody bought a house that can I afford to pay for?
All right, let's go into whatever country, and we'll just dive right into it. Whatever country is this that most of the Liberian people have lost the hippocampus?
You have become addicted to gossip.
Negativity addicts.
What type of country is this? We don't have any think tank that can study anything and tell us where we stand. Everybody just doing everything by themselves. What type of country is this?
But what type of country is this that the man made the sculptor, the CDC sculptor made a monument with
Of the,
former
we are,
President George Manuel and put
Go for
Famaraha on the monument. What type of country is this?
I wonder what material he made a monument of.
Who makes a monument with Famaraha? I mean, look, man. I hope I can find that picture here, man. Let me look for that picture.
So it can be hard,
What
so the monument can be hard.
Well,
Yeah.
the CDC contract.
What type of country is this? That
The CDC people get their contract, then you get it there.
The man I want the monument to die. So he put from Magaha in there, say,
The great they all the man money, mommy.
Man, I tell you what. There you
The
go.
CDC people say, "Man, we'll get you 2,000 and get it, man, 5,000, man, so get
okay, I'll put from Magaha on your monument.
Whatever country is there for Canada, that the director general look at the president, he said, you're busy there for you alone. I will make my own propaganda information. The president said, already? Then you have to tell me what are you and I, who is the president?
Yeah. So how you want to start?
It's not that. You are You were in America and man, you were selling African store. Bright and the brass, man, he gave you something that you want to tell if you want to stage on the propaganda instrument. Jesus.
Oh God.
The president, the president said, oh, I forgot, I don't know why you talking to that. He said, well, Chief, I'm telling you, the only way we can do that here is you see all the Aja people over there, they insulting people. We just gotta make it. We make it a propaganda. Nobody can air anything negative against the government.
He said, cartoon pusher then.
Yeah. Can you imagine a man look how I call cutting push-ups? They may say everyone are pushing cartoon, no man. But why you were seeing that? They seen that you were sitting behind the counter in the African store.
He's selling pepper, better boy.
They were all selling better, but they looking at professional
But first of
people.
all, who will leave from where Africa to can sell pepper and better boy?
The man living in America for 30 years,
Yeah.
man.
Then you selling pepper and better boy, then you calling your friend and who are professionals.
You just selling pepper and better boy.
You calling them what they call it? Cartoon pushers.
Look at professional people, you say they are he said the cartoon pushers in America.
Selling chicken soup.
But at least for me, I was okay, but we're not selling pepper and better boy.
And dry boonie. All right, let me go. Sarah Double said, what type of country is this? When we use 22 million to fix dusty roads.
Sarah.
Sarah is part of the agenda. No cars will be stuck in the mud.
The people say they want to help you to travel, Sarah.
Sarah Double also says, what type of country is this when everyone knows everything and no tangibles?
And no tangibles. What type of country is this, my man, that the former president has become a karate fighter?
Yeah, the man, we're going in the morning.
The man is bold, man. The man is bold. What type of country is this? Oh my God. What type of country is this? When they made you you work in the tourism department, but people even get motorbike. No car.
Yeah, no car.
Maybe minister, they even have bicycle. Forget it.
Yeah.
You want out of job, my man. They say you need to. You don't have bicycle.
What other country
You
is
see
that?
the man fighting karate. You see the man picking Colasco. You see that? And then putting a PhD to Wago. That Dr. Mane. Dr. George Mane. See? They begin Sekou Colasco challenging him. Yeah. What? We are bringing energy.
So, what type of country? Hold on, Moses. Now, what type of country is this? The former president is not even thinking on how to keep his legacy going, like helping the new government. You know, like you see Obama and they're helping to shape things, you know.
Yeah, from the bike.
Yeah, but the man sitting down there playing fighting karate.
Man, a serious fighter, man.
Sarah Double said, what type of country is this when you have government officials sitting on the floor in America? Oh, I guess that was the press.
That the deputy minister, the Anthony Kessley, and the press secretary. Yesterday when the president went to Texas, yeah.
So someone here, the name is Nongbase Wala Lalua.
Mm-hmm.
So are you telling me that I cannot own an African store in America because I came from Liberia? No, that's not the case.
No, that is not what we say, my
We're talking
brother.
something different, man. Or pa, whoever you are, we're talking something different. We're talking something completely different. That
Yeah.
that people calling us cartoon pushers, but they're selling pepper
Yeah,
and
man,
bitter
those
ball.
cartoon butchers,
So when
though.
you call your friend a cartoon pushers, then you shouldn't be selling pepper and bitter ball. You didn't leave America to kind of can sell pepper and bitter ball.
Yeah, man, selling
Yeah,
tabagi
that's
oil.
not the American dream. Doggy oil.
You see
Oh
that calling
God.
your friend a cartoon butchers, though. He selling tabagi oil.
And the doggy oil not even fresh. Old doggy oil.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Jackson, good to see you. Welcome, my brother. It's been a long time. You're right. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you for joining
Yeah,
us
my
here.
man.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
type of
Oh,
country is this? Hmm?
whatever country is this, my man? You know that
That all
what is?
all the ministries, my man. No vehicle, only the minister,
Yeah,
all the deputies and state riding keke.
yeah.
Hmm.
When the bonnet swept everything, man. You go to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, my man. And they say you met 3 cars. Of the 3 cars, only one is functional.
Hey, our man Pro one call. All right, Pro, we get you chance. Hold on. Moses on the line, so I'll just merge you. Hold on. Roses.
Yeah, my man, how you doing, man? I'm just calling to say hi.
Yeah, welcome,
I,
my man.
Thank you,
yeah,
brothers.
yeah, my man, the hour sometimes I can always follow, but yeah, but a great conversation, man. For Canada, I know you got done with the topic, man, but something just something just came to my mind. Let me come be first more.
Okay.
I said this thing Eugene Falcon guy. Remember he used to be telling my man and say, well, I know he used
The
to be
cartoon
using that.
pictures?
Yeah, all the derogatory statement. He even started saying a lot of stuff against some journalists in the United States. And
That was
I know the
us. Oh man, that
I
was us.
remember. I remember. So
We the Aja people. When
yeah,
we when we when we
okay.
when we released press release here against what the
Mhm.
government was doing and holding the government foot to the fire because he was deputy for public affairs, the man
Yeah,
got zealot and he started acting stupid and cussing us here, say, who are we?
Cartoon
I was a
pictures.
mere DJ on radio and
yeah,
pushing cartoon and blah blah blah. The government should not give relevance. I'm talking about we are government.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So that the
yeah.
same thing now he trying to do. He went to Baka. He told Baka say
Uh-huh.
uh, LBS should be exclusively for the government related issues. And Baka told him no. LBS should be a place of
Wow.
inclusion. So that's what we're talking about. This
Yeah,
is whatever country segment. We say, how can the man
yeah.
come where America to come say pepper and bitter ball? Then
Tabagi
he
oil.
calling us and
You know, no,
Tobacco.
no, no, but you see the thing for Canada. You see, I don't blame the guy. You remember when you made one of your posts, I went on there and I kind of like
Let me
poke,
drink my
poke you a
fresh.
little.
Let me drink my
I poke,
fresh milk, yeah.
yeah, I poke you a little bit. I say,
Mhm.
how come people like for Canada, people like Moses Washington and there, and how
You
did
mean
this
Moses
guy
Sandy?
and
Moses Sandy, not
Moses send this out, and
yeah,
then
because
and
Washington
people
is
say,
deceased.
yeah, sorry, Moses send it. Then people say that. I mean, I remember you say, my man, I'm looking for a job, but you see, that's the problem right there. A person like you, let me tell you, look, that when you're looking for a job, thing, if I meet a qualification, if I get person like you, for you to sit aside and allow college Eugene Falcon, like you were talking about it with a spoon yesterday. Look at the two people that work in government. Look at Fadiga. Look at Eugene Falcon. How you think they get in the government because of any kind of experience or qualification? But those guys went there or courtesy of Witherspoon. It just tell you how much that guy influenced this government. He didn't want to send no guys over there. Seriously.
Of
Seriously.
course, yeah. It was
Yeah,
serious influence there.
and people like you, Volcano, I would rather have you over there and have that Eugene Falcon. And you see what he's trying to do. The LPS that we knew about work, back then LPS, they would translate in Basel language. They got different people. Now he's trying to say it should be just you see these are the kind of toxic people in our society,
Yeah.
in this government.
Yeah.
I just calling to just chip in a little bit, man.
Thank
I'm
you.
going back to my cartoon pushing detail. Yeah, thank you for the show.
Yeah.
But at least my man, your own good, you're not selling Tabagi or
You selling Palm or Palm or
My man, I just ate Tabagi yesterday.
but Palm or the one called
Yeah,
Palm or
yeah.
the one I can hold your tongue. That one usually Fago was selling, he say, African store.
I think I saw that store. That store was empty. You look on the shelf, you can only find 3 items there. I
With
think
two can of tinapa.
yeah, man.
3 can of sardine.
Yeah.
Sarah
Yeah.
Dobo said we bound it.
Yeah, but man, then later on.
All right, my man.
Yeah, but man, thanks for coming here.
Just hang
what's
up.
up,
Just hang
bro?
up, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, hang up. So let me go through whatever country is this quick so we can wrap up, my man. I'll go watch my NBA behind here for
Yeah.
Eugene Fagon business. Okay, let's see here. Emmanuel Jackson says, what type of country is this? Appointed officials take the personal initiative to repair and manage the institution under their personal expense.
Damn.
Martin Meno says, what type of country is this? In the last 6 years, we couldn't have access to asphalt pavement in the southeast. Now, our people won't get stuck in the mud to have access to medical facilities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess.
So, quickly, Volcano.
Mm-hmm.
I think we forgot. I don't know if you guys talk about it.
Oh, yeah, we're done.
about-
I know. We finished with that. But
You're talking about
oh,
Abu,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then
that's
that's
how
good.
that's how I opened the show. I had that already on
Okay,
my
that's
agenda.
good. That's good.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder, everyone, tomorrow will be burying one of our colleagues' wife. Mr. Samuel Abu is our chapter president for Alja here in the Americas, but the Delaware Valley chapter, a combination of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and that of Delaware, and a portion of Ohio in this region. His wife died. She's a former employee of LBS, Miss Comfort Jeffy Abu. She passed away suddenly and will be laying her body to rest tomorrow. So the activities start at 9 in the morning. So all of you, our Agile colleagues, please come in your full support. Let's help to inter our sister. This is a woman who took care of us when we went to the house for many of our meetings. Very vivacious, very friendly, very open arms. And man, listen, I can imagine the tears will be shed tomorrow. In fact, Sarah Dopo says she's planning on being at the funeral. We look forward to seeing you. Let me get to see this Sarah Dopo. All right,
Yeah.
so come to the funeral.
Yeah, Sarah will be there.
So again, all of you friends and well wishers, please let's come and support the brother tomorrow. It's tough. It's tough to lose your wife of more than 30 years. It's a tough thing. And interestingly, Mr. Abu was on his way to Liberia when this thing happened. The wife had just gone and had come back, and he was on his way. Everything planned to go, and unfortunately, and Sarah says Samuel Abu is a member of the Tottenham High Alumni Association.
Oh, yeah, I think he graduated from Tottenham. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Moses, that's
yeah,
it, my
man.
man. Let's catch up this weekend.
Yeah,
All
so-
right.
And
Sunday.
then let me also say,
Listen,
that,
let's catch up
my
on
wife
Sunday.
and I will be there tomorrow. Mrs. Marion, Cindy, and I will also be
I
there.
mean, that thing you're talking about. I said, let's catch up to fix your problem.
Oh,
on
yeah,
Sunday.
sure. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night,
All
everyone. Thank you all for being there. We appreciate your time. We'll be back here on Tuesday by the grace of God. Please crusade
Okay.
the Issues Room. Like us, love us, and follow us on Facebook. Share the link. Invite others to join. Thank you so much. Volcano and Moses and Alphonso.